Hey, it's Claudine. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am just messing around with art here because it makes me real happy and I hope it makes you happy and it brings you comfort. But today we are going to discuss, we're not discussing a thing. I'm just blabbing this whole time. I will talk about the process, but also I have some thoughts. I have a lot of crazy thoughts because I think I just have a backlog of probably like very traumatic memories in my brain. All, obviously life stuff, but also, did you know we watched The Exorcist as young children? And, I'm not trying to put older family members on blast here, but I thought it was just normal for your grandparent to take you to the remastered version of The Exorcist when you're around 8 years old. But you know what? It was a character building moment. And maybe that's why I use art to make myself comfy, because it keeps those thoughts at bay. And I may still get nightmares. I wasn't about to choke up. I wasn't actually getting sad just now. I choked on a nut that I ate. Not that type of nut, you nasties. I'm gonna drink water. But here, right now, I'm gonna make a bunch of ube dessert trinkets out of polymer clay. Polymer clay, you know what? I'm growing to like it a lot. It's really fun to mess with. And it's a lot of there's a lot of trial and error in the beginning. And for this first trinket that I'm making almost like a paperweight version, and I'm gonna make a keychain version. But I'm starting off with making a waffle cone, and this was the toughest, not the toughest, it was like one of the things where I didn't know what to make at first, or like how to go about it, because I looked at the structure of a waffle cone and I was like, there's gotta be a way for me to make that. And lo and behold, my brain found a way. And I think that's why I love making clay sculptures, especially food clay sculptures, because if you've been here for a bit, you know I love food art and I love cooking. There's something about making clay sculptures. It's like puzzle solving. I've always loved puzzles, especially growing up. My husband absolutely hates it when I ask him random trivial things, or I ask him a riddle while he's driving on the freeway and trying to navigate through LA traffic. And I'm like, "Hey, so what does Droff spell backwards?" And he's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "It's Ford. It's Ford, okay?" And he doesn't want to play along because it stresses him out, but I love puzzles. And back to this waffle cone. So I'm very pleasantly surprised with how this waffle cone turned out, because at first I was kind of afraid it might fall apart because I might have rolled it out too thin. So next time I think I'll make it just a little thicker, because it could give it more structure. But look at how cute the waffle cone is! So cute. I want to make a smaller version, but I think with the size of that little clay tool I had to put all the squares in, I think that was perfect. And I'm busting out my block of purple, mixing it in with white. So I'm using mainly the Sculpey brand of polymer clay, but the white in particular is the original Sculpey, so it's very soft. It kind of feels like it melts in the warmth of my hands. And I need to get a lot more purple clay, because I want to make more ube charms in the future. And in this part, I needed a huge lump of dough or a huge lump of clay, because I wanted to make this melted ube ice cream scoop. And I wanted to make it kind of semi-realistic. And I didn't know how to go about it, especially with the scoop effect. But if you don't know what ube is like a sweet yam that you can find in the Philippines. And if you don't know, my name is Claudine. Did I say that in the beginning? But I was born in the Philippines, and I immigrated here with my family when I was 6 years old. And fun fact, one of the first places we lived in was Daly City in NorCal, in Northern California, and one of my first, I guess, exclamations when we first got into Daly City and the Bay Area was, "It's cold here, just like a refrigerator," but obviously I said it in Tagalog, which is the language that we use, one of the languages we use in the Philippines, because it was, like, it's all relative. And if you've never been to Daly City or the Bay Area, Daly City in particular, it's always foggy up there. And I know, like, the running joke is like, why is it so foggy up here? It's because of all the Filipinos and the rice cookers are letting off steam, ha ha ha. But you know what? There are a lot of Filipinos up there, and there's some good food up there, okay? And I'm kind of glad we started off in Northern California because it makes me appreciate life a lot more down here. I'm not trying to, rag on them. I just like life a lot better in Southern California. I'm a beach girl. I like the sun. I don't think I could survive in really cold climates. Maybe, like, biologically, I'm just not built for it. Okay, in this part, I'm making an ube cake roll. Ube cake rolls, if you haven't had it, they're so delicious. Like, they're just so fluffy and moist, and I don't know how it's, just physically possible to roll it into a perfect cylinder without breaking it, but I know there's a way around. So in this part, I was like, all right, let me mess with this. I'm going to get like a lighter purple color and this darker purple color and layer it and roll it as if I were making an actual ube cake roll. And I had already made one before this, but I wanted to do a different technique instead of doing a solid log of purple. And I was like, this is like turning out pretty well. And then it didn't. I started really doubting myself at this part. It looks like ass, if you ask me. It was not looking good. The swirly effect is not showing on the sides. There's a lump of white or like a lighter color at the seam of this. Look at that. Awful. Just awful. So I just accepted it and I rolled a tinier little snake thing of the lighter purple and I made a swirl out of it, and I'm gonna paste it on the side just like I did with the other cake roll I made. You'll see the other cake roll later in the video. And I got a lot of inspiration for this cake roll from Steven Universe. I've never watched it, but when I was looking up reference photos for an ube cake roll, I was like, this is so cute. The Steven Universe version is actually very cute. I approve. As a Filipina American woman who loves ube cake rolls, I like it. Whoever did the animation, great. Okay, this part I was like, this is not looking good either. I think I just look at how the swirl just melted in my hand. I think I worked a little too much with my hands. I should have just left it, or I should have used tools a little bit more that obviously didn't have warmth like my hand, because it started melting the swirl. So I'll know that for next time. Now I'm making, oh my gosh, this part, I love this part. This is so satisfying. I'm making the whipped cream on top. I'm making 3 dollops of whipped cream, and I'm using my sister's My Musubi mold as my placeholder so I don't melt the white in my hands. And I'm using that silicone tip tool, almost like a teardrop shape at the end. So I made indentations, and now I'm rolling a teenier piece of whipped cream to roll at the top. And I'm making almost like a pointed bean, like one end is pointed, and that's gonna be the top of the dollop of whipped cream, and it's gonna settle right in to the seam. Oh, it's so cute. Look at how cute. It's so cute. And I'm sorry, my nails look busted. I couldn't care less. I did not give myself the time of day to give myself cute nails because it just takes forever. But I made 3 of these and I put it right on top of the ube cake roll. I wish I kind of made them a little smaller, but I kind of like the big bulbous effect that the whipped cream has. And little side story, when we were in Japan earlier this year, as a lactose intolerant person, I was like, why not eat all the cream in Japan? Because that's a great idea, right? While I'm traveling. So on the very last day of our Japan trip, I was like, I'll have this alcoholic beverage that has whipped cream in it. And as someone who rarely drinks, like I'm talking about probably one drink per year or even one drink every 2 years, the combination of the whipped cream and the alcohol and also my pre-existing gut issues, I shat myself and vomited for hours in the night, and I lost a lot of sleep. And I left my husband alone in bed while I slept in the bathtub. And that was my last night in Japan. It was wonderful because, not because I haven't learned after years and years and years of knowing that I'm lactose intolerant. Like, what could have done it? It couldn't have been the whipped cream, but it was the whipped cream. It really was the whipped cream. And I learned. I think I truly learned that night because I never want to feel damaged again at the end of an amazing trip and miss out on more delicious food stalls on our very last hours in Japan. But it's okay. We live and we learn. Now I'm making an ube pie, and I made it into 2 different layers. In this part, I cut off an extra layer of the crust, and I don't know why I did that because I'm eventually gonna paste it on after right away. And I feel like my whole art journey is just very reminiscent of how I go through life. I kind of just wing everything and hope for the best, and it usually turns out okay. Looking back in life, I ask myself, why did I worry so much? There's really no need to worry because the more I worried about things, the more anxious I got, and the more I handicapped myself or just prevented myself from actually solving the issue. So, easier said than done. And I guess the lesson is stop worrying so much. I've been watching a lot of life lessons from old people on YouTube. It sounds really morbid, and because it is, I guess for some people it is morbid, but for me it's a good reminder of why I do the things that I do, why I try to focus more on things that bring me joy, like making this little whipped cream polymer clay. I'm testing out 2 different ones because I squeeze it out of this paint tip, and I compared 2 different ones that I made, and I just chose another one. But anyway, back to watching regrets of the dying on a regular basis, because it just reminds me of what's important. What's important in life? Being happy, being joyful, because that just brings more joy to other people. And if you're not joyful, like, what's the point, really? Like, if you're just stressed out all the time about little things, eventually those things are going to go away and you're going to be left with an anxiety issue, and your body's going to store that trauma. And I didn't mean to get to this point because I was just talking about making these clay figurines. But at this part, this is one of my favorite parts. I'm putting these eye pins into the polymer clay sculptures because they're eventually going to be baked in there. So these are all going to be baked. If you don't know polymer clay, I'm new to polymer clay, but polymer clay, unlike air dry clay, it actually doesn't harden when it's exposed to air. It hardens or it cures once you bake it in the oven. And I'm sticking these eye pins in because after they get baked, the eye pins are going to be set in here, and we're going to attach some keychains on, and they're going to look so cute. They're going to be so cute. This is one of my favorite parts because I almost feel like a little like I'm doing surgery instead of humans, I'm doing surgery on teeny tiny fake food. So I bake it. I baked it for around 30 minutes at 270 degrees. And look at this one. This one's like a paperweight. So cute. And now I'm just applying UV resin. So I apply UV resin on each one of these, and eventually I'm going to put them under a UV lamp, and I'm going to cure them under the sun some more. And I think I'm getting a hang of UV resin because it was not my friend for a while. I was not having it, and I realized I was just applying it too thick, and I didn't have patience for it. If you know me, I'm the type of person who's like, you know what, I'm sick, and in order for me to get healed fast, I'm just going to take 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C. It's not smart. You know what would actually be more helpful for my health is if I slowly took vitamins throughout my entire life and not try to take it all at once and stop stressing out. And now that I have a hang of making or just applying resin, it almost feels like the way it cured was so much better. I think it's because I applied it a lot thinner than last time. I don't know if you saw like one of my last videos with the Spam Musubi hair clips, because I applied the resin too thick. It was way too thick. And here I am setting it in the sun. Look at them chilling out. And it's like it's like doing gel nails. So I'm wiping it with an alcohol wipe just to, I guess, set everything to just remove any extra stickiness from it. And I'm applying what's called a jump ring with this key ring. I think that's a key ring. And I just seal it with a plier. And then I attach this little lobster clasp so that I could attach it to anything. Look how cute! It's so cute. A little ice cream cone. I didn't show you guys this, but it's basically the same technique that I used with a larger cone. And it's just stacked onto each other versus having it as a melted ice cream scoop with a cone on top. And same thing that I did with the ube cake rolls. I made an ube cake roll before the one that I showed you on the video. The one that I showed you on the video is not as cute as the one that I made prior. But such is life. Sometimes you be doing things that look real cute when people aren't watching, and when people are watching, you just don't do as well. And that's okay. Look at these keychains. I might give some of these to my sister because she does a lot of her content around ube, and contrary to popular belief, people think that she loves ube so much, but I think it's just because we're Filipino and we just eat ube like it's just a regular thing. It's not like we love ube. But you know what? Ube is very beautiful. Look at the set of keychains. Aren't they cute? Well, I'm glad that you hung out with me today, and I'll see you next time.